Everyone, my name is Ashley Valentine, and today we're going to be talking about environmental influences on offender trends and patterns. The four key parts that we are going to be discussing are the family unit, computer technology, social media, negative police imaging. We're going to talk at the very end about how all four of these parts have increased offender trends and patterns. We all know the dangers of going online nowadays, but for some odd reason, danger doesn't seem to scare our society, and we tend to have the "it couldn't happen to me" policy. The family unit. Times are changing. Things are so much different now than when some of us were kids ourselves. Kids are turning to crime at a much younger age now. It is really common for more adult criminals to try and get kids to join them in their crimes. Many kids nowadays come from broken homes, and that lack of stability has made it easier for offenders to reach weak, vulnerable kids or to get the kids themselves to turn. It is less common to have a parent in the home with children due to most homes needing double incomes nowadays with the increase of cost of living. This lack of parental presence is making things a lot easier for kids to find access or get to things that they shouldn't be getting to. The lack of a family unit is opening the doors for more and more kids to become victims themselves and to do that, be able to turn to crime. This lack of a family bonding has really opened those doors because families nowadays are not as tight as they used to be. The children of today are going to be our future, whether it's good or bad, and it really is on us as adults to help guide these kids to a stronger family unit and a stronger stability. Computers. The advance of the world of technology, it could be a positive thing and it could be a very negative thing. Criminals and police are far more effective today with the use of quick, easy programs and apps to decode the internet. It is very easy for an offender to be able to find someone's IEP address. Once they get this, though, they can get your location almost down to a very small area. Criminals, they are still way more advanced than police. I mean, let's give it to them. They know what they're doing, and they seem to always be 10 steps ahead of everybody else. They actually have websites that criminals can go to that will teach them how to hack the internet. I mean, and it's not just criminals, the average public can go as well. One of these websites is called Techworm. They teach free lessons on 15 different ways to become a hacker. I love their opening line. They state, quote unquote, "Hacking, which was once considered the exclusive domain of experts, has become very common phenomenon with the rise of technology and advancements of the mobile field." Yes, it has. They actually have made pretty simple, quick, easy apps to teach people how to hack or to basically take the thinking out of hacking for offenders or the average public. And there's nothing that can be done about these. There really isn't. These are just things that are at criminals' fingertips that teach them how to basically stalk someone or to, find someone's location. The reverse part of this, though, is that they do have many apps out there nowadays where you can ping your child's phone and find out the exact location of your child. That is actually really easy and simple nowadays. Certain antiviruses will do this. I know McAfee is one of them. I actually have that one for my children, where I can ping their phone at any time of day, and as often as I want, and it will tell me the exact location of my child and their phone. However, like I said, it's the phone. So if your kid doesn't have their phone, you're not going to actually get your kid's location. You're just going to get the phone's location. So just to be clear on that one. Social media has opened new doors for victims and criminals. The criminals are able to reach a much wider span of victims nowadays. Instead of having to look for victims in your hometown or, actually going out and seeking these, criminals with computer technology are able to go worldwide, really, in order to find their victims. The FBI actually has its own cybercrimes unit, and I did link this website for the FBI in my references. It's a pretty interesting website, one I would definitely suggest maybe going to. And it talks about a lot of advancements with cybercrimes. Some of them, I will admit, are actually kind of terrifying. Oh, hello. Tashobi. What are you doing? Social media. Okay, so we're going to talk about the pros and the cons. We are learning new ways every day to protect ourselves. Here's the problem and the con on that. It's much easier for offenders to find their victims, and they, like I said, they are 10 steps ahead of us. So we're learning how to protect ourselves, but the problem is that we're learning these things after the offenders have already made their trends, in learned new ways to get to us. So we need to eventually get to a point where we're ahead of them. So that is the con on social media, is there is a lot of different things to protect yourself. It's just those things are coming up after the crimes have already been committed. Whole units have been developed to catch predators in the act of trying to get to children. And this is awesome. It is amazing. I know many people probably know the show To Catch a Predator. That is a real thing. They really do have whole units that literally go to work and get on the internet and pretend to be young children in hopes that a predator will come to them and want to meet them. It has helped greatly, but once again, offenders are able to think faster than us and have found ways to get around that, whether it's with using code words, which code words you can't really use to blame or to accuse someone of being a predator. They actually have to admit to the crimes. So it's kind of a catch-22. Offenders are able to study their victims from the privacy of their own homes and even possibly get the trust of a victim. This is something that with social media is horribly huge. Instead of a predator researching or looking at one victim, they can actually get to the point where they're looking at multiple victims. And they've studied these people, they've studied these children, they've learned the child's pattern, they've learned if the child comes from a broken home, if the child tends to go to one place or another, where they go to school. The predators and offenders are very quick on learning these things. Another part of this would be an offender could study your patterns and know that you frequently go to one certain coffee shop or one workout place or where you work, where you live. These things are very easy, and most predators don't just get online, find a person, and bam, that's it. They take their time. They study what they're doing. If a criminal posts something that could be used to implicate them in a crime, privacy does not apply. And the information can be used against them, and it is, in many cases, it is used against them to prosecute them. There was a really good article, which I also linked in my references, where they discussed how Cincinnati was able to use things that people had posted on social media to take down a whole gang unit. They found the leaders, they found who the big players were, and they were able to implicate them in several crimes because they posted it on social media, and privacy does not apply once you do that. That's not just for criminals, though. That also applies for any of us. When we use social media, we leave a trail of every part of our lives for everyone to see and everyone to know. The smallest little picture can have what's called a geocode, and it is so easy for somebody to take that picture, run it through an app, and it will literally give them the exact geographical coordinates of where that picture was taken. We don't realize this. There is a way in most phones nowadays to turn this off. It's highly recommended that you do this. You do turn it off. But unfortunately, most people don't realize that until after the fact. You could take a picture and have your house number in the picture, and you pretty much just told somebody where you live. So even the smallest of pictures we might think are harmless, we might think we're being safe, there is ways for people to find that stuff, find out where we are and find out where our location is. Also, you are, in most social medias, I know like on Facebook, you link information like where you work, where you went to school, what you know, who you're married to, who your family is. These are all social media trails and fingerprints or footprints that we're leaving for people to use and for criminals to gain knowledge. There is internet safety classes to teach people how to protect themselves. Once again, this is something that we are acquiring after the fact, so we need to get to a point where we're ahead of them, not behind them. More and more people are scammed every day due to social media. Whether it's an ad popping up and buy this great item now for half cost or 75% off. Well, you put your credit card information in, you never get the item, but you did just release your information and your credit card to a criminal. So now they have it and they can go on a spending spree. There's also scams where they have websites where you can sell things. You don't necessarily know what you're getting. I don't want to say that most people are criminals, but I would say to use caution. When I say use caution, I mean, you don't know who you're talking to. Don't take checks. Check fraud is a huge thing. I don't know why we even have still checks today. Most places don't take them, but for some odd reason, when we sell something on the internet, we tend to do that because we think it's safe. But it's not. People, I mean, there's a million scams out there, and they're growing every day. It's not like they're getting less or anything like that. They are getting higher and higher. Harvard offers a 2-day training class. I did look into this, and they have a lot of good information just on the information on what the class is going to be talking about. It's definitely something I would suggest people looking into. It is kind of scary. I will warn you, some of the stuff that I saw was a little on the scary side. But I didn't really use any of the information, so comment below if you want the link to that I found, because you would have to pay to take the class, and so that's where I wasn't able to use some of the information, but I do know that they do offer a training class. Negative police imaging. Oh my gosh, this is seriously, I swear. In today's world, it is not uncommon for people to have seen some type of negative image of police. It really isn't. I mean, this is so common. And I don't know, I can't really make an assumption as to why this is going on, but I will talk about some of the experiences I've had. This can come from witnessing reckless driving. Oh, seriously, I have seen some cops like flying down the road, and it's amazing to me. Like, the speed limit is 55 and you're doing 80. Why are you more special than everyone else? You're not chasing anyone. You're not going to get anyone. It's an abuse of power. Or I've seen them turn on their lights just to get through traffic. And that is like one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate that. It just comes across like they're so arrogant. I have, in fact, came across a rude police officer once before where I didn't do anything wrong and we were just in a store and he was just, like, he cut in line because he was, a police officer and felt more entitled. So even the average public, I mean, yes, we see the negative images online, but even the average public can come across negative imaging, whether it's through pictures or experiences. The worst is the videos. The videos, the images, they're all over social media. They're all over the internet. I actually did a Google search and I was going to count how many negative images popped up. Let's just say too many to count. Police brutality and abuse of their power is just sickening almost to a point right now. But this has caused the public to not trust police. Why should we trust someone who is setting a bad example? Obviously, like in this picture, this man is an African American. He is on his cell phone, and that female police officer is spraying him with pepper spray. Really, I'm not seeing a justified cause to this. I'm not really seeing how or why. But I do want to point something out. There's also a Caucasian female standing right next to him. Some of these images, and I'm not saying this one because I don't know the full details behind this one, but some images are counterfeit. I will say that. Some are counterfeit, some are not real. The thing is with the negative police imaging that's going around, offenders are able to use that to their benefit. They're able to know that people are less likely to trust police, meaning that they are less likely to report a crime. This is kind of, This is kind of giving them a leg up against our defenses. Okay, so how this all ties in. The lack of a family unit is leading the doors to be open for children to become victims of crime or to commit crimes themselves. However, this isn't just going to apply to children. As our children grow and become adults, the lack of that family stability is going to continue to repeat itself. And it's just going to get worse and worse. Most homes have some type of internet access nowadays. People need to be educated, and they need to educate their children. I really do think the adults need to be the ones to be educated first so that we know what we're talking about. We know how to discuss it with our children. I know there are several classes that people can find within their community to take on child safety of the internet and things like that. A lot of times if you go and look at your local rec centers, you'll find some of these classes. Too much information is released for offenders to find. We truly are making it very easy for offenders. We're really taking the legwork out of them having to really do much to find us. The amount of information that is posted on an open platform could literally lead the offender to your front door. Like, we might as well just stick a big welcome mat out on our front porch. If you're a criminal, please come and rob me, steal from me. You're just welcoming everybody in. People need to learn how to be more private, because this is increasing the trends with offenders. We're making it way too easy for them. People are less likely to trust police. This also makes it easier for offenders. nowadays people don't want to get involved. So, your neighbors are out of town, you see some weird car parked in their driveway and people going in and out of their house, but you don't know what's going on. You don't want to be in part of that. So you don't say anything. Then they come home and they've been robbed. Some insurance companies now have put policies in that I know, well, and I only know this because of mine. If you post that kind of information, you are basically welcoming them to your front door. It's like leaving the keys in your car and telling everyone, don't steal my car while I go into the store for an hour. Okay, that will work. It's pretty much the same thing. And so most insurance companies, if you do these kinds of things, they could use that social media, that stuff that you posted, to get out of paying claims. So people just, they're not likely, to want to give up information anymore, or call the police and be like, oh, somebody robbed me because I posted on social media that I was out of town for 2 weeks. All of this has helped increase the trends and patterns, and it's helping offenders to change their behavior, to know what victims are weak, what homes are broken. Because of their increased knowledge of the computer, they have learned how to stalk people very well and acquire a great deal of information about somebody before they get to their victims. And it is less likely, like I said, for a victim to go to the police. These trends and patterns and things that have increased in environmental changes are all making criminals a lot more savvier today than they once used to be. So this is the conclusion, and I am going to pop up my references really quick. So, okay, this top reference is where you're going to find that information about the Cincinnati Police Department using social media to bust people in crimes that they've implicated themselves on. And then you also have the Tech Worm, which will show you the top 15 Android hacks and how to use them on the internet. We also have the FBI cybercrime website. And then the two bottom ones are just the images that I used. But these top 3, I would definitely suggest going to. Leave your comments below. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.